Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of Lunch and Learn. As Madison was saying, we were doing a series of App Studio training sessions, and we are coming to almost like an end of it. And today we're going to talk about deploying via menus to the users. So we've seen how to create the layers on App Studio and what are all the different properties that we have for each of them, for the events and all that. So once our layer is completed, now we need to deploy this onto the menu, and it is kind of similar to what we had done on classic version, where we go into our menu maintenance. You can access menu maintenance from system setup, security maintenance, and get onto menu maintenance. And in there, when you open the kinetic version of menu maintenance, you see like you can see that in the menu properties you have this launch options, wherein you can either select the forms to use as classic and then select the classic customization, or switch to kinetic and then select the kinetic customization from here. And then once you open on the kinetic customization from here, a little panel it slides on, which is the kinetic customizations that you have. Like let's say you have some 3-4 customizations available. All of those are going to show up here, and then you can select which of them you want it to be as your default layer. And then once you have that, just click on apply, save the menu, exit out of menu maintenance, and restart kinetic, just like we would have done on our classic system. Once you create and then you save your layer, it's slightly different on kinetic. Like, once you just save your layer, it doesn't automatically come up onto your menu maintenance screen, but you would have to publish it. Like once you create this layer, initially I had created this layer called LNL deploy menu. And then when I try to go on to menu maintenance, I wouldn't be able to find that customization name here. That is because that wasn't yet published by then. So I would have to go back and make sure that you publish it from your screen. Like if I'm on order entry, from these three dots over here from the overflow menu, make sure that you publish your layer. And only after this is committed, you can see your publish history on the history tab onto your left hand side of App Studio. Make sure that it is published, and only once it is published, when you go back into menu maintenance, you can see that your layer is available to use. So anytime that you're not able to see it here, just go back, and one of the main reasons could be that you may not have published it. And once that is done, it is seen here, then you can click on select, you can click on apply and save it onto your menu, and then that becomes your default layer. In this case, since I'm on order entry, that becomes my default layer on order entry. Now here in Kinetic, we have a new sort of feature wherein we can add in 2 or more layers. This is probably similar to, on classic customization, I would probably take like the latest customization and build my new customization on top of it. Here, if let's say 2 individuals are working on 2 separate layers, you don't have to work one on top of the other. You don't have to include all the changes and then go on top of the other. But when you go on to select your layers, you can select either of them. You can select multiple layers. You can select this layer, you can select this layer, and then the whole order comes up over here. Once you select one of them, one comes up here. Once you select the next one, two comes up, and all of those that you select will be applied onto your form. And then the order of the layers specifies the order in which the system will apply the changes to the application UI. So if I select something like 1, 2, 3, then whatever is the last layer, that would have your precedence over the lower layers. So that is why you would need to place these layers in the way in the way where the first layer in the selected customization column gets applied first and the last layer gets applied last. So every time the precedence goes over to the lower layers, I mean like the last number that you select. So in this case, I put in like my test layer A, which is my CVLNL deploy menu. This is my test layer A. And here what I had done is, if you see, I just changed the name of the page here to say test change A. And then here what I did is I put in like a new test button. That was the only thing that I did on my test layer A. Then I went ahead and created, this should have been test layer B. So here in test layer B, which was CVLNL deploying menu 2, what I had done was I put in like sales order test B. I didn't put in any button. So really my only thing that has changed on test layer B is my name of the page here. So now when I go ahead and select my menus, see how I've selected CVLNL deploy menu as 2 and then CBLN is deploying menu 2 as this. This has the order 1 and this has the order 2. So since this has the order 2, the first layer that I created would take precedence on to be when this layer is made default. So when I go here, I can see that my sales order test change A has come up because this is what was the last layer, because this is what had the number 2 in my sequence here. So that's why A has overridden my layer B. Then in the second case, I had interchanged them, and this time layer A got the order sequence as 1 and layer B got the order sequence of 2. Now what should happen is my page name, whatever I had put in, that would have to change to layer B. When I go ahead and see that here, my sales order test B comes up over here. Now this button still comes up because there was no conflict on the button. My layer B did not have any button at all, so there was no conflict, and then the button comes up fine from my layer A. Only thing that has changed is my name of the page, wherein the layer B has taken precedence over A. Now, what happens when there is a conflict? What I did was on my layer A, I put in this button called as new test button, and on my layer B, I put in another button called as test button. So this time what happens is on the same place, you have like two different buttons, and then the same page name has it has two different names here. Now, when I go ahead and select my sequence of layers that have to be selected here. In this case, since I have my layer A as the last sequence, this would take precedence. And so my page name becomes A here, and see how my new test button comes up first, and then from the layer B that came up down below here. And similarly, when I interchange them and I have my layer A as 1 and layer B as 2, since 2 is going to take precedence, my page name has changed to test B. And see how the buttons have interchanged, because since my layer B has to take precedence, the button from layer B came up first, and then the button from layer A was placed down below. So, I mean, really, this is only about how you maintain your sequence here, and whatever gets the last name takes precedence. So when you're trying to put your menu items here, just make sure that you deploy it. I mean, the sequence that you give here should make sense of how your customization was built on and which layer did you want to take precedence over.